Hello, welcome in this edition of the Danny Sancomb Show. My name is Matt Kiefer, the Sports Information Director here for the California Vulcans. With me after a big win at home last night is head coach Danny Sancomb. Nice victory last night over the Crimson Hawks, one of those best teams in the region, best teams in the conferences for years. But get that winning streak continue to keep going as the end of the season is quickly progressing.
Yeah, happy to beat them. They're a good team. They're a team that's not going to beat themselves. So you're going to have to beat them. They play very hard on defense, offensively. They get good matchups and they exploit it and they run good stuff. So yeah, it was like a rock fight. It was just a battle, and I'm glad we were able to come up on top.
But since we met last week here, you guys first had Senior Day last Saturday versus Mercyhurst, another team that's very defensive-minded. It keeps things, for the most part, pretty tight to the vest. They like to keep the scores relatively low traditionally with their coach. But the team has been a little bit down this year, but they've been right there in the regional thick and also the conference thick for a number of years.
Yeah, great program too. Very similar to both those programs. It's a lot of prep work when you play those teams. They run a lot of different things on offense. They're tricky on defense with how they switch and do things. So, back-to-back games, we had a lot of work to do as a team to get prepared to play both of those teams. And obviously on senior night against Mercyhurst, we wanted to make sure we sent our seniors out on a good note. So very happy with how we started and finished that game.
Now, it's a special senior day for you, basically because, again, Jermaine Hall and Zion Collins, along with your manager and bench player, were also recognized. But it's one of those things, those two guys came in with you 6 years ago when you came in, and it was their basically final home game in the regular season, a chance to recognize them for their career and how much they meant to the program.
Yeah, obviously Seth being our other senior, has been here for 2 years and has just been a great addition to our program. He should be a coach. He's got great communication skills and does a great job. And just as a team guy, gets along with everybody, pushes guys hard in practice. Very happy to have him. And then the other two, can't say enough about Zion and Jermaine. They've just seen the program evolve, and they're the reason the program has evolved. As freshmen, they had games where we only dressed 6 players, and they were 2 of them that were dressing as freshmen. And just to see the steps we've made over the years, and it's just been really a lot of fun for me to watch them move from being freshmen all the way up to seniors. They've always kind of had a leadership role in the program, but the last few years they've really evolved in that area. And just not only great people, but unbelievable players. Both of them have had great careers, and just can't say enough about them. They have moved our program to where it's at, and they've been such a big part of that, and really kind of learned from Brent in the first year, and just were leaders from that point on. And Senior Day was bittersweet. Happy for those guys. Obviously, they're going to move on to bigger and better things. But part of my heart will miss those guys. 6 years together says a lot about them, man. Love them both, and they're both winners and going to be very successful in life.
In that game, it was a big first half lead. You had basically, you guys really shot the ball well in the first half and held them down, only making 4 field goals. As we're taking a look at the highlights here against Mercyhurst, anytime you hold a team under 4 field goals in the first half, you're going to have a nice lead. It was 42-22 at half.
Yeah, we did a really good job on defense, active, not only making them miss some shots, but creating some turnovers and allowing ourselves, as you can see, to get some easy baskets. So we were dialed in, and on both ends. We moved the ball well on offense. Really complete game for us, I thought, on both ends of the court.
Yeah, you see here in the start here, 17-3. I mean, I'm sitting right next to the coach at Mercyhurst. He put a couple different rotations in. And at one point, he's like, I don't know who to put. He looked at his coaching staff. I don't know who to put in because everything we were doing offensively kept working, and they couldn't get anything going for themselves on offense.
Yeah, we passed the ball and share the ball really well. And when we're making shots, really hard to guard. And you can see all the extra passes going in there. And open shots are the key. Guys are going to shoot a great percentage when they take open shots, and we were able to do that. And you see guys scoring the ball, but some of the passes before the baskets, the assists are so pretty, and it's just fun to watch our guys make the extra pass and play together.
So you had that big lead at 20 point at halftime there, and then in the second half, you shoot an absurd 15-20 from the floor. So it's one of those things. The accuracy and the good looks you're getting, obviously fast breaks help, but there's so many good looks in the second half there.
Yeah, and it's ball movement, and Donald really got it going in the second half, making shots. But our guys did a good job finding him. As you see, Bryson with a great pass and assist right there to him. And then, KJ's been KJ, does what he does really well. Bryson Lucas has played so well for us the whole season, but the last 3 weeks he's played at a very, very high level for us. And then you have our seniors, like I said, they just do what they do. Zion and Jermaine, they're just so solid on both ends of the court.
It's one of those things. They're all 5 starters in double digits. Donald has 17, KJ 17, Jermaine 11, and then Zion and Bryson both with 10. It's just an incredible balance across the board. Starting 5, and then Keith hitting that shot here late in the game as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of who we are. I think we play our best when you see 5, 6 guys in double figures. Obviously, KJ's put up unbelievable numbers this year. We did have some injuries early in the year, and he had to elevate his game. But I think by watching that, I just think obviously Zion could go for 25, KJ could go for 25, Jermaine could go for 25, Donald could do that. I mean, Bryson. I mean, we have a lot of guys that can score the basketball, and they figure it out. They're okay with winning and maybe taking 12 shots, or maybe a certain game taking 8 shots, as long as we win. So it's a special group from that standpoint. Winning is their priority, and it shows with our record.
And you referenced KJ starting early on there in that game, having to score a lot in that game against Mercer. He reaches 1,000th point at Cal, so that gives you guys 3 right now. And then Keith is right on the precipice right there of joining those guys of Zion, Jermaine, and KJ. So just the idea of balance, not just this year, but across throughout their careers.
Yeah, I think that's when winning at a high level you'll see. When you see when guys' careers are finished, you see 5 and 6 guys play together, scored 1,000 points. And for us, Cal's got such a great tradition in their basketball program, but a lot of transfers, a lot of 2-year players. So obviously when you play for 4 years, you have 2 more years to build on those stats and so forth. And we like having the guys here for 4 years. I think something we really pride ourselves on is player development, working with guys, and they continue to get better. But you're mentioning all those 1,000-point scores. Just thinking off my head, Bryson and Donald will be joining that list at some point in their careers as well.
Yeah, and of course it all started when you came in with Brent, scored 1,000 points as well. So it's one of those things there. KJ actually hit 600 points last night. That's something that's only happened 10 times in school history. Brent did it, Phil Alston did it 2 years ago, and then now KJ. So 3 of the 10 have been in the last 4 years. It's kind of the offense you guys run, and also just the idea of the ability to play so many games.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about what type of player KJ is. I mean, Brent and Phil were tremendous basketball players. They were great. And KJ, is right there, scoring 600 points. The points are great. We know that for KJ, but the rebounding, the toughness, he brings so much to our team and is just is a winner. Like, he gives everything he has, and you don't ever drive home thinking, well, KJ could give you more. He's given everything he has.
And then on last night, one of those things, you get a nice senior day win, but you're coming back against a team that's still maybe not have the record and being regionally ranked and nationally ranked like they traditionally are in IUP. It's still a program that has a couple of the best players in the region, one of the best coaches around in terms of the just win-loss percentage. You guys have done it all really at the IUP, but going in there, being able to face a team like that, your last home game of the year, really getting you guys fortified and tested for the PSAC playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of respect for them. Obviously they've had some injuries this year, which has affected them, but they're still capable of beating anybody on the right night. They play very well together. Like I mentioned earlier, they're just a team that's not going to beat themselves. They play hard. Their kids are very disciplined. They're well coached. So we knew it was going to be a dog fight. And we knew they were going to be ready to play. I think they had a tough game at Slippery Rock, and I knew just the type of program they are that they're never going to lay down. They're going to fight to the end. They think they can win every game. That's the culture there. So, you're going to have to beat a team like that.
And we got the highlights started here already. Really started early. Donald hitting that first 3-pointer of the game. Then Bryson, nice putback. But then Bryson gets into foul trouble really early on in the game, and it really limited the entire game just because of foul trouble there. But just the idea of the depth that this year has with having Keith being able to play, come off the bench, something unheard of. A guy who was an all-conference first-teamer and all-region player last year, but because of injuries and working his way back, it just sort of works out. And then Antoine giving you almost a dozen minutes there off the bench. Yeah,
first with Bryson and Keith, those 2 guys at that position are as good as anybody in our conference. They really are, and they do a lot. And it was a tough game for Bryson, a couple tough calls, but it's so nice and luxury to have Keith come in, who was a first-team all-conference player last year, who's battled with injury, and I really feel like Keith is healthy right now. I think he came back, obviously, he's been playing, but I feel like he's healthy, and he just gives so much to our team. He is 100% about winning and doesn't care about anything else, and is just a great leader in our program. And Antoine, is such a talented player, and Antoine has done so much for us this year. Mark my words, in the years to come, Antoine Arnett will be talked about a lot and will be a great player here in our program.
Yeah, in this game here, KJ gets 19 points, Donald finishes with 18, Jermaine with double-double, 13 and 12, and Zion only 6 points but had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. But one of those things, tough night for him in terms of on the offensive end, but he was guarding one of the guys in the league who shoots a ton of times.
Yeah, first about our seniors, love them because it wasn't a typical great game offensively for either one of them. I think Jermaine was 4 for 14. I think Zion was 2 for 12 or 3 for 12, something like that. But all the other intangibles, you look at Jermaine, he had 12 rebounds. He had double-double, right? Like you said, then you look at Zion with all the assists, the steals, 6 rebounds, just doing whatever it takes to win when the offensive game isn't going the way you want to. They stay locked in. Obviously, Zion with a tough defensive assignment and being able to put him on, their point guard and do a great job. Really, really proud of how those guys do those things when it's not their best offensive performance. They're about winning. That's why they do those things, and they understand how important those things are when things aren't going great for them on the offensive end. And then KJ, I think he was 8 of 16. I thought he missed some looks that he normally makes, but boy, did he make some great runners, some pull-ups, 19 big points, for us. And then Donald, he just started the game. He was locked in, ready to play. He's playing at a high level for us now, and I think when Donald's playing at a high level for us, good things are going to happen for us.
It's just an interesting path for Donald so far in his career. He comes in as a redshirt, has to redshirt because of COVID, gets injured, and then he's watching Brent play and direct the offense there. And then he basically comes in second semester last year, sort of learns it off the bench. And this year, been the starter, but one of those things, some days he scores a lot, some days he gets a lot of assists, but he always one of those guys, he keeps everything, it seems to be smooth and easy running the point.
Yeah, the best is still to come with Donald. He's got a lot more in that tank and will continue to do more for us. Love him. He's another guy that is about winning. Donald's a quiet, all business type of guy, and he's about winning as well. And, he does a great job keeping everybody happy. He's our point guard and does a great job keeping everybody happy. And then sometimes he waits and goes to get his, so to speak. But we need him to be aggressive. We feel like he can make plays for others, make plays for himself, and we feel like he's doing that very, very well right now.
Well, that takes a look at last night's action there, and then we'll take a quick break here and preview March, which is basically the busiest and craziest time of basketball season. If you're a basketball fan, this is the best time of year, no doubt. So we'll be right back after this.
The PSAC Digital Network is on the cutting edge of live event production and streaming. Every season, the PSAC Digital Network features nearly 2,000 contests, over 1 million unique viewers, over 26 million minutes watching thrilling PSAC competition, including 22 PSAC championship tournaments and events. Since its beginning in the 2017-18 season, the PSAC Digital Network has continued to grow its viewership and improve its quality every year in order to capture exciting highlights, captivating moments, and the championship experience that only the PSAC can offer. All 18 PSAC member institutions have a completely cost-free online portal that makes tuning into your favorite team just one click away. Find it all on the web at PSACSportsDigitalNetwork.com.
Hello, welcome back to this edition of the Danny Sancomb Show. My name is Matt Kiefer, Sports Information Director here for the Vulcans. With me after, again, last night, victory over IUP's head coach, Danny Sancomb. Coach, one of those things there, between the two games we talked about, Mercyhurst and IUP, Rice and Lucas received a big award there from the conference honor, being recognized as the PSAC West Defensive Athlete of the Week. He put up some incredible, just balanced stat lines last week against Pitt Johnstown and Mercyhurst.
Yeah, Bryson is special. He's very active defensively. He can do a lot. He anticipates well. He has the ability to block shots. He is a player in our league that can guard 1 through 5, which is very unique. He moves his feet and has great length, so could guard a quick point guard. Obviously, he had to guard the best post player in our league last night. So he's so versatile and does so many things. And he gets so many steals, or his hands-on basketballs, very, very active. When he's on the floor, does great things. So I'm glad he finally got it. I thought he should have got it a few other times this year, but it was nice for him to be recognized for all the hard work that he does.
It's one of those things, too. I think it goes unnoticed for the idea of Cal's one of the top scoring teams in the league, but also I know you take pride in the idea of the field goal percentage defense you guys have is one of the best in the conference region and even the country.
Yeah, some teams are big with points allowed. We want to play a certain style, so I think we're typically going to have more possessions than some teams, which we're okay with. At the end of the day, we want to look at, defensive field goal percentage. That's important to us. And he just anchors us down. He's another player that I mentioned about Donald. Bryson has so much more in the tank. I've seen so much growth in him as a player and a person, and he's continuing to trend in the right direction. And he's going to be a guy that we're going to talk about a lot the remainder of this year and the following 2 years.
So the remainder of this regular season is only one more contest. So we'll take a look at the standings here with one game left to play. Basically, all the teams have been clinched in the PSAC West, but there's still some room to be determined in terms of who's going where, playing what day. We do know Cal and Gannon get a first-round bye and get to host games on Wednesday. Everything else sort of in the crapshoot there, with IUP, Slippery Rock tied for third at 13-8, and then Seton Hall and Mercyhurst at 11-10, then inverse that at 10-11. Interesting one here for Mercyhurst and Slippery Rock. They play each other this weekend, so that's going to be a huge game there, and could also end up basically not only being figure out who's third, but also if things would go the way Cal wants to, possibly determining the idea of everything else there to help out shake everything for the PSAC West standings.
Absolutely. It'll be a battle. You can look at the records. You can throw them out. They don't mean anything at that point in time. Great teams, great coaches. So, whoever we end up playing, we better be ready to play and play well if we want to win.
And then in the PSAC East there, I know it's one of those things, a big game contest-wise. You have Millersville and East Stroudsburg and Lock Haven all vying for 1-2-3. One game separating them, and then Millersville actually travels to Lock Haven for a huge matchup there. They could really force a three-way tie in there for the first place. And one of those things for the Vulcans, seen two of those three teams already, and all three of those teams are actually regionally ranked, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Yeah, obviously playing Millersville this year and Lock Haven, we obviously saw them close. I've watched East Stroudsburg. All three of those teams have had outstanding years. Again, very talented teams, very well-coached teams. Their side, they're going to beat up on each other next week as well. So whoever comes out of there will be well-deserved, and whoever comes out of the West will be, well-deserved as well. So it's going to be a competitive conference tournament like it always is. We have a great conference, so, each and every year it's tough games. So, teams are going to have to be ready to play.
And before the games last night, the women had a great comeback win against IUP, and you guys had the victory over the Crimson Hawks. The NCAA released its regional rankings, finally in the order of numbers, not by just alphabetical. So here we see it. Again, not really too surprised. I think 1, 2, 3 there. Those three teams are Gannon, Cal, Charleston. All three teams have been really at the top of the national rankings all year. But then you see a little mix there of MEC, PSAC, the remainder of it. There's no CIAA representation, but there will be one team coming out of that league regardless with the AQ. But as you were saying about the East and the West balance, it's just balanced overall, like 2 teams, 3 teams. And the MEC, a lot of those teams are separated by 1 or 2 games in the standings left.
Yeah, great leagues. Can't say enough. Obviously, very familiar with the Mountain East, coaching there for many, many years. And the PSAC, those teams are very good. Mention our conference, obviously. West Liberty's got a great winning tradition. They've had another great year. Charleston obviously is in first. I think they've won the league already. I think they beat West Liberty twice. Very, very good basketball team this year. And then you look at Staten, West Virginia State and Fairmont, very, very good teams as well. So, it's crazy because 2 years ago we lost in the Sweet 16 and we were the 3 seed and we had 9 losses going into the NCAA tournament. And it shows you, there's going to be some really good teams that don't make the our region this year, and it's crazy when you start looking and teams have 7 losses, 8 losses, and they may not get into the NCAA tournament, which is, in a normal year, those type of teams get into the tournament. I always figure, you win 20, 21 games, you've got a good chance, especially in our conference, and that may not be the case this year.
It's one of those things too. I referenced the Millersville Stroudsburg, Millersville Lockhaven game, and the MEC it's Charleston and West Virginia State play, so a big regional game there. But also you have the MEC tournament next week in Wheeling, and then the PSAC tournament at campus sites. A lot of chances for teams to beat up on each other, help their resume, but also hurt their resume. So it's a really challenging time come March for the selection committee to figure out which 3 Q gets in, and then how the next 5 get in.
Yeah, I always say when you get to March, you're playing really good, great basketball teams. It gets very, very tough when you get to this point when you're playing in March. You get into the conference tournament, it's a dog fight. Obviously, getting to the NCAA tournament, it's a dog fight, and you got to be at your best, ready to play at this point in time. But this is what I think teams work towards all year, to have an opportunity to win your conference first. That's should be the goal. Win your conference tournament, and then obviously get to the NCAA tournament and win your last game at that point in time. I think that's every team's goal and what it should be every year.
Yeah, Cal's put themselves in position here to get a first-round game, as a quarterfinal game, in the PSAC tournament on Wednesday, so get that first-round bye. So before that, you have finish out the regular season, a trip up to Edinburgh on Saturday. A team that's not in the PSAC tournament, but a team that has shown growth and improvement under a new first-year coach. You've seen them the first time, and you've obviously seen them a bunch here on film so far throughout the years, just watching everybody. What are we expecting for Saturday?
Yeah, got to be ready to play. They play very hard on both ends of the floor. Offensively, they present some problems. They screen well. They move well. They run good stuff. So they look at what you don't do well, and they try to exploit that, very, very well. So we'll have to be ready to defend. And then on the defensive end, they're aggressive. They go after the basketball. They play very physical. So we're going to have to be ready to do what we do. We're going to have to screen well, move the ball well, and get good shots, at their place. They hurt us on the glass the first time. We got to do a much better job on Saturday rebounding the basketball on both ends.
So that's the last game of the regular season. But again, the Vulcans will return back to the Convocation Center for at least one more contest on Wednesday. Very chaotic, trying to figure out, explain to everybody when things are and whatever. It just needs to be at the Convocation Center, 6 p.m. on Wednesday. I know it's spring break for students, but overall, anybody who's close by, certainly come back and check out the Vulcans in the postseason in a quest for first the PSAC tournament, and then hopefully the week after that, the NCAA Regional, and all this stuff again. All up in the air, all basically decided on the court, which is exactly how you want it to be done as a coach. You do the X's and O's, let the players go do what they need to do.
I've said this all year, and, outside of Edinburgh, nothing else matters to us right now. We need to focus in on that. And then 5:30 on Saturday, we'll start to look at and figure out who the 2 teams we can play, and then we'll start to work on that Sunday and get ready for both teams and watch the game, obviously, on Monday and be ready to go on Wednesday.
So again, that's the word from Coach. And again, keep all the updates on the PSAC website and also calvulcans.com to see all the latest pairings and tournament matchups for postseason basketball here on California campus.